You're like, okay, you are
Right.
live.
It's done
Um,
something.
something is happening, I hope. So we're gonna warm up. I'm gonna check that we are live 100%,
Cool.
um, because I'm not actually 100% sure if anyone joined. 100% sure how to check that we are live.
When you do it for the first time, this is the fun of it, isn't it? This is where
Okay,
loads of people are just hearing this conversation and.
okay, yeah. Yeah, it actually we are live, and also it's very cool. I see that we have subtitles automatically set up for
Hey,
us,
cool.
so that's interesting. I'm not sure what's happening on Twitter. Yes, I also see us live, so amazing. We are there.
Cool.
All people working, but we decided together get together today with Luke, and we're gonna talk about everything LinkedIn. I decided to run these interviews with the first guest, Luke, just to tell people more or share with the people more who want to running on um, start posting on LinkedIn. Founders mostly, I think, excited to post on LinkedIn, but nobody knows how it will go. Everyone come on LinkedIn and like, okay, 1 month and I'm gonna be the star. Get a lot of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you maybe you introduce yourself, tell me a bit more about you, what you're doing, and maybe your experience on couple of words.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Luke Redhead. I've been posting on LinkedIn for the last 3 years or so now, which has been good. My business, my focus is now helping people to basically to build or grow their business through their personal brand. Um, Majority of people that I'm working with, obviously, they're using LinkedIn, which is it's a fantastic platform for it. It's a great place to build a personal brand. And I think the main point of the conversation we'll talk about today is, over those 3 years, the first two of them were quite a struggle, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. So yeah, I think that's probably the best part to introduce because I think that's where you want to talk most, isn't it?
Yeah, I want to talk about the failures. I'm not interested in no,
Okay,
okay. Like I
plenty of
want to.
them.
Yeah, we need the real stories. So tell me how long you were posting, and how maybe you felt, and what was the failures of all.
Yeah, so I'll try and summarize 3 years into like a couple of sentences here, but yeah, I started posting back in I think it's about 2021. It would have been, um, and I came to LinkedIn. I'd been building a bit of like a freelance business prior to that, around writing and content writing. Um, I enjoyed writing a lot. I was very good at it, and I knew what I was doing there. Um, and somebody introduced me to the world of kind of social media because I was doing longer form content before, and they said, posting on like LinkedIn and things, it's shorter, it's snappier, things like that. And I thought, great, this is cool. I'll give that a go. And it became kind of snowball that eventually I kind of left that side of the business behind, the longer form stuff, and just focused on the actual social content side. Um, but yeah, I knew how to write. I didn't know the platforms at all. So naturally, I kind of came in with this, I'm going to say generic approach to creating content. There was, little personality, or when there was, it wasn't really kind of the right style, the right way. I kind of just wrote things and just, as a lot of people do, expected to do well, or rather hoped to do well. And yeah, I just kind of stayed with that mindset for ages. And I just saw what other people were doing. They were doing really well. They were getting, they were growing on the platform. They were doing well and getting, leads and things in for the business. And I think one of the main mistakes I made was, rather than go, what are they doing? Why, how can I learn from them? They're clearly better than I was. I had this mindset of, it's worked for them, it'll work for me one day. When's my kind of big break coming? When's it going to happen? So over time, I was doing very similar stuff, content wise, over and over. Started sharing a bit more personal content, which did start to perform better. And I thought, this is great. I'll share more stuff like this. And yeah, I did. And then I started to grow. And then I had this mentality in the back of my head that when I was starting to get I had this number, I had 100 likes per post in my head. I don't know why I did. I just did. And I thought, when I get to that point, people take me seriously. Like, that's really good quality. That's when people take me seriously. I start getting leads and things in from there.
So how many likes, if I ask you, how many likes you need to be successful?
Not that many. Definitely not at all. It became this kind of direction where in my head, I just thought, that was the thing that was missing. I thought, people aren't going to take you seriously until the content's performing to that level. And yeah, for months I was just like, come on, get to 100 over and over. Anyway, I did eventually, and I remember the day vividly well. It was a day I was down in London with my partner, and yeah, we literally went out for the day. We were walking around London. Now, obviously, London's very known for, it's our capital city. It's where a lot of money is, basically. It's a lot of big houses, nice cars, things like that. So you can imagine me walking around London, seeing Ferraris drive past, looking at these massive houses, and this post is just 60, 70, 80. I'm thinking, oh, it hit 100. I think it got like 130 that day. And I was like, oh my God, is this a sign? I'm like, finally, I'm going to be successful. It's going to happen. This is amazing and all of that. And
I'm on top of the world.
Exactly. I thought, this is it. This is the sign. This is, as I said before, I'm waiting for that moment where, where it's my turn. And it kind of happened that day. And I was like, this is it. Amazing. And that was a Friday. So I had this weekend of thinking, oh my God, this is going to be so good. It's finally happening. We're off. Anyway, the next few weeks taught me that I was wrong. And, it didn't change anything. I didn't get any new leads. I didn't get any new anything. It was just a number to the posts. So I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So, I kind of changed the strategy around again. At this point, I've missed out about 10 different strategy changes in the past that I won't bore you with, but I changed things a lot as I was going through those kind of early years. And then I started to just focus on the stuff that actually, for me, actually really mattered. And instead of just focusing and worrying about the numbers, I was thinking, how can I make an impact? How can I help people? How can I inspire people? Things like that. And that's when I started to use my journey, my story to do that. And started to share content that's designed to help people in that way as well. And that's when things started to actually pick up, and it also started to generate leads as well. And yeah, ever since then, it's just been kind of refining, tweaking, experimenting, just playing around with different content styles and stuff. But yeah, ultimately, I think the summary of that journey was, focus on making an impact. That was, if I'd have done that in the early days, rather than worrying about numbers, worrying about what other people are doing, worrying about, that post did well, I should try that or this and stuff. Worry about how can I actually make a real impact here and, and help, my target audience with the problem that I'm solving. And yeah, that just opened the doors that I was looking for probably the 2.5 years prior to that.
That's very interesting. So like the likes doesn't matter. I mean, people would not love to hear that, yes? Because I would say I also have some feeling in my head, and it's like, I think it's not about the likes, it's about this dopamine you get when you get more likes, yes, when you get more attention, when you get more views.
Yeah,
These numbers, it's like they work the same as like payment notifications or anything like that. It makes you feel like, yeah, the more the better.
yeah,
But I feel like I had a lot of struggles from people I know started on LinkedIn. So the main struggle was how to get onto your right audience in the
mm,
beginning. So I heard from a couple of founders, they're like, oh, okay, Julia, yeah, of course, you post in among people who post about the marketing or about the LinkedIn hacks. Yes, there is the big crowd, but I want to target like sales reps, or I want to target like technical developers, or someone like, it's the
mm.
LinkedIn the place, and how in the beginning got there, what to do, like 5 steps.
Yeah. So I mean, just on your last point there about the likes and things. Yeah, they're not. This is a very, very interesting point. I don't want to spend too long on it, but I want to touch on it. It's a very interesting point because a lot of people, they're on the fence of either they don't matter or they do matter. And I know there's a whole thing, don't sit on the fence, but I kind of sit in the middle. They do matter, but to some extent. Um, to summarize it even easier, it's much easier to find 10 new clients from a room of 10,000 people that are the right fit than it is to find 10 clients in a room of 10 people that are the right fit. So in that sense, it's definitely easier. If you've got more of a community and more people there, it's definitely easier to kind of make those results happen. But if people, if you're just chasing as many likes as possible and doing, posts on topics that don't align with your business, your content pillars, things like that, then you build an audience of people who aren't really interested in anything that you sell or do. So, or they're not the right audience for you to make an impact with. So that's where the balance comes in. So yeah. Back to your second question there. So I think, God, 5 steps.
Like
uh,
maybe one step, yeah. So we understand that many people, and I also was misleaded by likes in the wrong direction, and maybe you, yeah, like
yeah,
okay,
agreed.
I know if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna engage with these people, I'm gonna get likes. But then I'm in position, okay, my services or products, or like the end goal why I'm here, most people for leads, yeah,
Yeah.
for becoming expert.
Mhm.
That's it, that just doesn't work. I mean, I'm surrounded the people not interested in what I'm offering, yeah. How to get to them, how to find them, where to start.
Yeah. So I think the key thing here, and this is something that I did wrong as well, is understand the actual outcome that they want from it. Um, from your content, from what you're doing, from what you're sharing, making sure you understand what they actually want. Great example is nobody really invests in a coach just because they want coaching. you know they invest because they want, like, you'd invest in like a sports coach to help you perform better. You'd invest in a mindset coach to help you with your mindset. There's always an outcome that people kind of want. So with that in mind, in your case, you said earlier about sales reps, for example. Well, sales reps obviously are focused on sales and things. Now, they could go and they could sit and write handwritten letters all day, every day, and post them to local businesses and do it that way and get sales. They probably don't want to sit and do that all day. Whereas they could post on, on LinkedIn, and use that strategy to get sales as well. So really, the thing that you're talking about, that way of doing it, is actually just getting them the thing that they really want. And that's the key thing here. It's a very, very good thing. It's a chap called God, I think it's Eugene Schwartz. I think it's his name. I'm going to double check after now, but I'm sure that's his name. But he was a copywriter many years ago. A very, very established guy. And he said there's like 5 levels of awareness that people go through. And it's the very last kind of 2. The last one is product aware, where they know that's the thing that they would need to buy. The one before is they know that's the solution to the problem. But then there's the levels before that. They know they've got like a problem. They know that they're struggling with something. They don't know what the solution is to it. So if you're saying, here's how to start posting on LinkedIn, but they don't know that they need to post on LinkedIn because they don't know how that solves their problem, well, then it's not going to align and resonate with them. Whereas if you say, if you're looking to get more sales, here's my go-to strategy. They go, oh, I'm looking, that's my problem. Great. And then they see the solution and now they're aware of that solution side. So yeah, it's all about awareness of deep down, fundamentally, what do they actually want? And then creating the content around that to help them get to that point and solve that problem that they have.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. And that would be like reflecting on that. That would be also maybe interesting to get back to the question, who will win from LinkedIn and who not? Like I know you helping many people with the growth, with the advice. You help me, and like, would you say that someone come to you and you say, okay, maybe LinkedIn not the best place for you? Yeah, maybe you're not gonna find a lot of leads. So is there like someone it is best? And if we talk specifically about founders, any founder would win from LinkedIn in terms of getting leads, getting impressions, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as a general rule of thumb, yeah, most founders will, be able to succeed with LinkedIn. I find LinkedIn is very good for if you offer like a service, and then you can sell, like digital products or smaller things like that to kind of support the main service that you have. But it's typically works better for selling a service in that sense. That said, it's not always the best place for it as well. Some founders, I mean, if you're, great example is people who are looking for jobs will scroll LinkedIn probably for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour or so a day. I'm just picking random numbers here. But they'll scroll the job section looking for jobs. Now, they probably don't know that they need a career coach, someone who can help them get there. But they'll sit and scroll Instagram for maybe 2 hours in an evening, or across the day, maybe sit and spend 2 hours doing that. So in that sense, then you think, actually, maybe for that career coach, maybe Instagram's a better platform for that person than LinkedIn is, even though what they're offering is actually quite well suited to LinkedIn. Or better, have, content on one and repurpose onto another platform or something. So yeah, it's, without getting into the specifics, majority of the time, LinkedIn, I think, is a great place for it. Even if it's not the best place for sales, like the career coach example, it's a fantastic place to build the personal brand, and be seen as the expert, as this go-to, so for that career coach, they could be, really well known as somebody who knows that industry well. They know what they're talking about. And that unlocks loads of opportunities to do talks, to be invited to be like a speaker and things, to do stuff like this. It massively can help the personal brand as well, which can lead to indirect results down the line as well. So yeah, there's loads of opportunities with LinkedIn. Sales wise, definitely there's more of a focus than others, but I think for anyone, LinkedIn has its benefits in some way, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would agree definitely about the service side. Yeah, I see that the service businesses are definitely win a lot. Yes. And if we talk about like, because there are two things which people doing with LinkedIn, yeah. And my story was that my first experience with LinkedIn was cold outreach. Yeah, I started with cold outreach many years ago. I still have a lot of people who are not communicating with me, which I had it from the cold. But actually, it worked well. So I converted. I had customers from cold outreach I made on LinkedIn. It really worked better than any other cold channel.
Oh.
But like what you suggest, for example, if I'm building brand on the LinkedIn, should I combine, or do have experience and knowledge, should I combine it with the cold outreach and then I'm like kind of double, or should I also outreach people somehow? If I'm small creator, I just started, I'm like navigating, should I also do something different than brand?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it depends on two things. It depends on the goals, number one, and it depends on your kind of personality, I would say. So, for me and the coaching that I do, I help people. We have an element of outbound in there, but it's more, I call it like an inbound outbound system. So it's more attraction focused stuff. So we create content that, attracts the right audience, the right kind of people in. And then if they view the profile, if they engage with the post, things like that, then we can outbound to that person. So that way it's not completely cold. There's a bit of warmth to it. If you are wanting to really sort of go for it and get as many conversations going as possible, then cold outreach can support that because it gets you more conversations going. Now, for me, as a personal preference, I'm not the biggest fan of completely cold outreach. I much prefer to have a content strategy to attract people in, to then lead them to conversations. I said that the thumbs up would happen, didn't I? It's very weird. But God, where was I? Yes, the attraction, that was it. So, attract people in through the content, through sharing my story, and showing that I've been there as well. I get it. I understand where they are, where they want to go, things like that. And then by doing that, it kind of shows people actually, I understand what they want, where they want to go. And then when you reach out to them, or if they reach out to you first, or or there's loads of ways you could have like a lead magnet to kind of attract people in, whatever. But when they show some level of interest, it makes the conversation so much easier because there's already that trust there. There's already that relationship there. Even if you've never one-on-one spoken to them, you've spoken to them in your posts. They feel heard. They feel listened to. They already trust you a lot more than a complete stranger. So you've already built that level of rapport. So it makes it a lot easier when you're having the conversations, I find. So that's why for me, I much prefer that route, and sharing my journey, inspiring and trying to help people, because even if they never become a client, it's nice to be able to help people. But for the ones that do, it just makes it so much easier to have that trust and that, that conversation further on.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So the drive everything by the inbound, yeah. So by inbound, by content, creating the content. And do you like, for example, if we get to the content creation part, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So how you come with that? How you creating the content, and maybe some, I don't know, top things of how you suggest not to create content, and maybe top how to create the content, couple of things which in your mind always there.
Yeah. I mean, we could be here all day talking content, couldn't we? But a couple of things is it depends on the goal of each piece of content. So, for example, if you're trying to reach a new audience, and basically show people that you're worth following or worth listening to, then you want to tailor the content to get more reach and things like that. If you're trying to get leads from it, then you want to nurture that. You don't want to reach new strangers. You want to kind of take the followers that you've got and show them what the next step is, sort of thing. So yeah, having a goal for the content is so important, because otherwise you're just creating content for the sake of creating content. I'm a massive fan of emotion in content as well. We have this part of our brain that can somehow sense emotion just through words on a screen, which doesn't make sense, but it does. But I'm a massive fan of where, if somebody feels something in a post, and if they feel inspired, if they feel heard, if they feel motivated, those are the things that they remember, and they come away from it. They might not remember the actual post itself, but if over time they constantly feel inspired, like actually, as an example, this dream, somebody out there, they think, I've got this dream of, this business I'm trying to build. It's not working. It's, they're in a comfort zone, but they want to break out of it, but they don't know how. If they constantly feel inspired by someone and they think, actually, this person knows how to do it, they make me feel like I can do it. That's the person that they will trust above anyone. So that's the person that they're more likely to want to work with. And that's how, and even if you ignore the business side, that's the sort of person they want to follow and listen to. So that's how the brand grows, because more and more people feel heard, listened to, trusted, and want to follow on from that person as well. So, leaving them with a lasting feeling, that's very important for me, with content as well. And the last point, because otherwise I'll keep talking for hours. But the last point I'll say is consistency, and finding a consistent pattern or routine that works content creation wise. So, when I first started, I tried to do like a month of posts in batch and do it all in one go, which became a real problem. So I stopped doing that. Then I started doing posts. In fact, before that, I was doing posts every morning on the fly. They weren't very good, didn't work. So stopped doing that. And now I kind of do them kind of weekly / midweek. And I just do content, as and when I'm feeling inspired, in the right mindset. If I'm, let's just say I've had a busy day, I think, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. You can't be creative in that sense. Whereas maybe first thing in the morning, I'm like, full of sparks and, my brain's on fire. And I think, great, I'll write then. So yeah, finding when works best to write is really, really important. And having inspiration as well, is a big thing. The best like designers, like car designers and things, they have an office, and it's just filled with printouts of different things that inspire them. So they'll have pictures of like a tiger, and then they'll have a picture of like a river and things. And they'll go into this room and just soak in this inspiration. So yeah, having that and getting into that inspiring sense as well, from other posts you see, from stories, from things that are going on, and feeling inspired, that massively helps when writing content as well.
Wow, this is very cool. So we talk about, I think I hear this thing. So I hear the personal stuff. Yeah. So that personal stuff definitely work. The emotion works. Yes. Inspiration works. And then what I think hard, or I would ask myself here, how, let's say, like do you think you can inspire people in every field, like which you kind of operate? Yes. So because the personal stories are very inspiring, yes, but as soon as you start sharing the expertise, it's much harder to get it. It's becoming a part. What do you think? Do you need to combine these two, or you can just make the expert type of content? I mean, like, this is like 50, I don't know, tools for developers, or like, this the top conferences, so this like, or you need to have both, or how you think that's better to go? Which type of content?
It comes down to audience and what they prefer. Definitely having both means you kind of tap into both sides of, some people prefer the expertise, some people prefer the personal side. You can tap into both of those. I think that, it's kind of treat them both as a bit like a Venn diagram, and have a bit of crossover with them. So, you said a second ago, 50 tools for developers. Well, that's a really good, be really useful for developers, which is obviously the target audience, which is good. you could start off and say with that post, you could say that in fact, I could do it myself. I spent 2 years struggling with LinkedIn, and now things are going really well. These are the top 5 tools that I use to help me, that got me from where I was to where I am now. So rather than just sharing those tools as information, am I showing an insight as to why they were so useful? And kind of giving that level of value as well. So yeah, it's when you start getting into the technicalities of it and getting really, really deep into it, you can start to say, actually, do I need to have that personal insight in there? Is that going to impact reach? You can start getting down to the algorithm level and things. But I think ultimately, yeah, it's just about that impact. Are those 50 tools going to be really helpful? Yes. Great. How can I make them as impactful as I can? Or should I share some, a personal insight to them? Should I share some background why these are such useful tools? An insight into why this has helped me, so that other people can, who need that help, can get it as well. So yeah, so that's to try and summarize it up a bit. It's all about getting a good blend and getting the good blend for the right reasons for the right audience.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I think we soon need to kind of wrap up, but I want to leave the most interesting on the end. So the numbers. I want some numbers.
Okay.
Numbers. Are you going to give me some numbers?
It depends what they are.
Numbers of failures, numbers of posts. No, maybe I think it would be interesting, like the numbers of now you're posting constantly, the numbers of impressions you have like a year, or the number of leads you get per month which come inbound to you. Maybe some numbers, there's like impressions, leads, maybe some numbers from the clients you work with. Anything what stand out?
Yes. So, I mean, I can talk through impressions wise. Let me have a quick nosy here. Impressions is an interesting one because there are, certain topics will do better than other topics. Some get more impressions than others. In the last year, I'm just shy of 1.7 million impressions. And
That's
in the
like
last 90 days, I'm at just over 500,000 impressions.
90 days, million impressions. Okay, so it's
and if I pushed very hard for topics and content to get impressions, then yeah, you can increase that. Whereas if you push very hard for the other side of it, so far this year, I changed my coaching offer. I relaunched it. I signed 10, 11, technically 12 new clients on so far this year for that. I did a masterclass. I did basically like a free one, like a lead magnet there. That got over 160 people sign up for that. That then led to however many leads from the back of that. In terms of clients, I think probably the best example here is one that I've been working with recently. I mean, they've got, I think they're on about 400-500 followers or so. So kind of very early days for their account, which is fine because we all start from zero. And they've just signed one, and I think potentially a second client on board now as well. Which is, obviously I won't go to the specific figures for that, but that's I think they had one client before, now they've got 3, so they've 3 times their business just from when we started working together as well. So yeah, it depends what numbers matter to you and what the goal of that number is. For me, I look at that and I think, in the last 90 days, 500,000 impressions, I think brilliant. That's a nice number. That's really cool. But if the business was 0 clients, 0 leads, then that 500,000 impressions doesn't mean anything. If that 500,000 impressions was 100,000, 5 times less, but the the leads and the number of clients and everything was the same. Well, really, those impressions are 5 times more valuable than what they actually are now. So yeah, there's lots of ways of looking at the numbers and doing it that way. But yeah, in terms of those, that's pretty much where I am at the moment. Are there any other numbers that I've missed that you want to hear? Because I kind of just went over a load of random ones.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So I have to hear one question in the comments. So when is the time to reconsider your content strategy? 1 month or like longer, and what specifically to look for?
Well, it depends on the goals. I mean, I look at mine every week and see, kind of what I'm doing, what I want to be doing as well. So, if let's just say I'm getting ready to launch a new lead magnet, well, the content prior to that will be trying to get new, followers in. So I'll focus on topics that get more reach and things. And then just before the launch, obviously it's about nurturing and kind of doing a bit of a campaign to get to build hype and get people excited about it, so that then when I do launch it, it's maximum impact. So with that in mind, the focus on getting more and more reach at the very, in that, say, the couple of weeks prior, well, there is where I care about impressions and followers and see, is the content getting out there? Is it reaching new people? When it comes to building the hype around it, are people getting excited? Are people, are the comments saying, I'm looking forward to this is going to be good or whatever, or are people not really seeing it? When you launch the thing, how many people are getting it? So let's just say that spans over 4 weeks. Across the whole thing, then impressions and followers, that does matter. But then towards the end of it, that doesn't matter at all, because I want to get people to get the new lead magnet to sign up for it as well. So so it's all about what the goal is ultimately, and why that goal matters, and then matching the numbers backwards to see, are you getting towards that goal or not?
Mm-hmm. The last maybe comment here, it's not a question, but just like interesting to acknowledge from John that reflecting on the Instagram, browsing intent is important here too. People might get turned off seeing career stuff on Instagram if that's not the constant context they go to the platform, and that's why I think like also the LinkedIn or Twitter, I would consider more the work platforms, because I'm, for example, going also Instagram or TikTok, and I can see some interesting career like work stuff, but I'm 90% never act on it, because it's like I'm coming there to relax.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I think
absolutely, I absolutely agree, and I would say for work-related topics, LinkedIn for me is the best. That's not just my personal opinion. Obviously, Twitter is very good as well for that now, or X, isn't it? But yeah, I prefer LinkedIn personally. But I mean, there's a fantastic example. It's a chap called Chris Donnelly. He's very big on LinkedIn. He's closing in on 700,000 followers. He's very good. He talks about a lot of work-related topics and things like that. And I was scrolling Instagram, and he actually popped up on there, and he was doing reels where people send in screenshots of like text conversations that they've had with their boss and things, and he kind of reads through and reacts to them. But I found this quite entertaining, and it took me about a month or so of following him on both platforms to actually go, hang on a minute, this is the same guy. This is interesting. So yeah, it's, again, when we say, context is important. Yeah, Instagram, people they go on there because they want to relax, they want to be entertained more than they want to learn and such. So maybe that's the kind of the right angle of the content for that platform, even though it's the same ultimate goal across the whole brand, across all of the platforms as well. So yeah, so we could get really deep into that bit and try and balance in the books there and stuff. But yeah, ultimately, context is very important, and the approach and the angle is very important as well. And having platform-specific content is key. Not everything that works on LinkedIn will work on Instagram. Not everything that will work on LinkedIn will work on TikTok. But the same topics can work, just in 2 different ways as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the last minute, I will ask you, and you have only one option to respond. So either yes, either no. There's no discussion there. So
Okay.
you start writing on LinkedIn today. Can you get your first good client after 1 month posting on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Good. Posts short or long? Only
Personal
one.
preference.
That was not there. Okay. Use ghostwriter or not? Depends on preference. I will not buy this one.
It's it is personal preference. Typically, I'm going to say authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Ghostwriter or not, authentic.
Then what about that? Tools, use tools or not?
Yes.
Okay. Post every day or not? Last. Post every day or not?
No.
No. Great. Great.
Personal preference, but no.
Yeah.
Just say all of those questions, all of them, personal preference. There's my answer.
These I'm gonna cut. I'm just gonna take the part, but anyway, I think that was very fun, and we're gonna wrap up. Thank you everyone who were listening. I'm gonna most probably get some small parts of that, of very interesting insights you shared today. It was fun to have coffee without coffee.
Yes, no, I've got water as well. We should have called it a water break, shouldn't we? Actually, maybe not.
Nobody joining on the water break.
No, I've just realized what I said there. No, definitely don't call it water break.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you see, I can show the comments of people here. That's
Cool.
Yeah. This is interesting. That's exactly what I asked in the beginning. But do you want to give the last one-liner on that? And we water, we make the water break.
Yes. Yeah, I can write general topics to get more reach. Yeah. If you do that to get more reach, it's a bit like throwing a net in the sea, and you go fishing. You want to get lobsters in, you throw a net out there and you see what you get. Let's just say you get lobsters as well, but you also get other types of fish and things like that. Well, then your nurturing content that's a bit more deep, or your outreach stuff, that is where you then use that, and you basically reach out, you take the lobsters from the net and you do it that way. So yeah, it's better to kind of just reach more people in that sense, to then be able to narrow down who from your audience is the right audience. If then, as you're nurturing people, if the wrong kind of audience don't like the content, then they'll unfollow or leave, which is fine. It's a good thing, because they're not a good fit, and then you kind of both part ways, so it's absolutely fine. So yeah, that's the idea with the broader reach content, to attract more people in. A good friend of mine said it in a very good way. He said, if you do a post that's very specific and it gets 1,000 impressions and all 1,000 are the right people, or you do a post that's a bit more, general and gets more reach and it gets 100,000 impressions, but 10,000 of those are the right people. He said, which one's better? So, yeah.
Sometimes you maybe also need both. Yes, the same as when you do marketing, you need more narrow and more
100%. Yeah, and this is just the funnel, really. We're talking the top of the funnel. We attract people in. Some of them won't be a good fit, but the middle of the funnel's there to nurture the people who are the right fit, through to the bottom where you have a conversation with them, or they take the next step, or whatever. The next step of the journey is.
Okay, amazing. That's how we're gonna end. We are like 15 minutes later than I planned, but thank you everyone who were listening, and thank you, Luke, and see you on LinkedIn.
Yes. See you all there. Thanks everyone for joining, and yeah, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it. It's been good fun.
Okay, I'm ending.